The clearest proof that justice is the most essential of all virtues is what happens in its absence. Injustice instantly renders any act of courage, discipline, wisdom, any skill, any achievement useless, or worse. Courage in the pursuit of evil, genius without morality, self-discipline perfected into pure selfishness. If everyone always acted justly, we wouldn't require such immense courage. While prudence tempers bravery, and pleasure balances excessive self-control, the ancients would note that no virtue compensates for the lack of justice. Justice simply is. It is the essence of every virtue, every action, life itself. Nothing is right unless we do what is right. Our world today speaks volumes in how people, hearing justice, think first not of decency or duty, but of the legal system, of lawyers, of politics. We care less about what is right and more about what is legal, fighting fiercely for our rights. To call this an indictment of modern values might seem strong, yet it's hard to see it otherwise. Justice means far more than what happens in courts, C.S. Lewis reminded his audience. It is the old name for everything we now call fairness. It includes honesty, give and take, truthfulness, keeping promises, and all that side of life. The ideas are simple, yet remarkably rare.
We must understand that justice isn't merely between citizen and state. Forget litigation. How do you behave personally? Stare decisis. Justice looks us in the face. Do we live by it? Not just in grand moments, but in the small ones. How we treat a stranger, conduct business, honor our responsibilities, perform our work, and impact the world. Of course, we love debating justice. What is it? To whom are we obligated? From childhood, nothing stirs us like disputes over fairness, rights, and wrongs. We dissect hypotheticals endlessly, arguing intricate exceptions and moral gray areas, proving no one is perfect. Modern philosophy knots itself in complex dilemmas: the trolley problem, free will. Historians swing between ambiguity and stark judgments on the decisions that shaped our world, as if moral choices are clear and simple, or as if they occur once, not constantly, as if we pose the questions, not life itself.
Meanwhile, each morning brings dozens of significant ethical decisions, most receiving scant attention. We ponder high-stakes hypotheticals, yet countless opportunities arise daily to embody these ideals. Naturally, we prefer abstract justice, a distraction from acting justly, even imperfectly. While we debate, we delay action. We argue to avoid beginning. We can define justice as maintaining the formation or setting your own rules, as General James Mattis put it. It's the boundary between good and evil, right and wrong, ethical and unethical, honest and dishonest. These principles guide everything else: what you do, what you refuse, what you must do, how you do it, for whom, and what you're willing to sacrifice.
Is there relativity? Must compromises be made? Yes. Yet across time and cultures, we find a reassuring timelessness and universality, a surprising consensus on what is right. The heroes in this narrative, men and women, military and civilian, powerful and powerless,
presidents and the dispossessed, activists and abolitionists, diplomats and doctors, despite their differences, share remarkable unity on matters of conscience and honor. Tastes change, but admiration remains constant for those who keep their word. We despise liars and cheats. We celebrate self-sacrifice for the common good and reject those who profit at others' expense.
No one admires selfishness. Ultimately, we scorn evil, greed, and indifference. Psychologists suggest even infants grasp these ideas, proof that hungering and thirsting for righteousness is innate from our first days. Right things are complex, yet often strikingly clear. All philosophical and religious traditions, from Confucius to Christianity, Plato to Hobbes and Kant, revolve around versions of the Golden Rule. In the 1st century BCE, a non-Jew asked Rabbi Hillel to teach him the Torah while standing on one foot. Hillel replied, "What is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. That is the whole Torah. The rest is commentary." Care for others. Treat them as you wish to be treated, not only when convenient or applauded, especially when it's not, even if it doesn't pay, even if it costs dearly. Euripides wrote, "Truth needs no ornament. Her native ray shines out and scorns the borrowed gems of art, while falsehood, sickening at the naked day and dreading scrutiny, with all her skill, weaves the close veil and spreads the baffling shade." You recognize justice when you see it, or more subtly, when you feel it, and even more so, its absence or opposite. In 1906, a boy named Hyman Rickover arrived in America, his family fleeing pogroms. At the U.S. Naval Academy, he embraced classical virtues. Over a career spanning 13 presidents, from Wilson to Reagan, Rickover became one of the world's most influential figures. He pioneered nuclear ships, commanding programs worth billions, involving thousands, and wielding immense destructive power. For 6 decades, through global wars and the constant threat of nuclear apocalypse, where a single accident could spell catastrophe, he shaped generations of the world's finest officers. Rickover told these future leaders that one must act as if the fate of the world rests on their shoulders, echoing Confucius, something that indeed occurred in his own career. Yet Rickover was also an ordinary man, a person with colleagues, subordinates, a wife, a son, parents, neighbors, bills, and traffic. He often stated that what guided him was a clear sense of right and wrong, duty and honor, helping navigate endless dilemmas. Life does not lose its meaning for one who has accepted unselfishly the principle that certain things are wrong simply because they are wrong, he explained, regardless of whether laws are violated. Such a moral code provides a standard, a basis for personal behavior. This isn't about complex legalism or clever quibs. We won't explore the biological or metaphysical roots of good and evil. While we'll consider life's deep moral dilemmas, our aim is to cut through them, as people in those situations hand to, not drown you in abstract hopelessness. There's no grand legal theory, no promises of heaven or threats of hell.
The goal is simpler, more practical, following the ancients who saw justice as a habit, a skill, a way of life. Because that's what justice should be, what we do, not what we get. A form of human excellence, a declaration of intent, a series of actions. In a world of uncertainty, where much is beyond our control, where evil exists and often goes unpunished, striving to live rightly is a bulwark in the storm, a light in the darkness. This is what we seek, placing justice as the North Star on our compass, letting it guide us through good times and bad. As did Harry Truman and Gandhi, Marcus Aurelius and Martin Luther King Jr., Emmeline Pankhurst and Sojourner Truth, Buddha and Jesus Christ. When Admiral Rickover ended a call or meeting, he didn't bark orders. His parting words to subordinates were profound yet transparently pragmatic. Do what's right. Do it right now. For yourself, for others, for the world. How? Let's explore. The pursuit of justice doesn't begin in distant lands. It begins at home. It begins with you. It begins with deciding who you will be. Old-fashioned values of personal integrity, decency, dignity, and honor. The core behaviors embodying these ideals: doing what you say, conducting affairs properly, treating people well. The Stoics noted life's chief task is focusing on what you control. While the world may be ruled by illegality, injustice, and cruelty, each of us can choose to be the exception, to be upright and worthy. Regardless of law, culture, or what we might get away with, we can choose our own code, strict and fair. Some see this as confinement. We believe the opposite. It liberates, gives meaning, and crucially, fosters positive change. We preach this gospel not with words, but deeds, knowing every action is a lantern dispelling darkness, every right choice a statement heard by peers, children, and the future. We must realize justice is not what we demand of others, but what we demand of ourselves. It's not a topic for discussion, but a way of life. It need not remain an abstract universal. It can be practical, accessible, and personal. So, where to begin? Justice is the standards we uphold. It's how we treat people. It's the promises we keep. It's the straightforwardness of our words. It's loyalty and generosity to friends. It's the opportunities we seize and refuse. It's the things we care about. It's the change we bring to people. It's not always popular, not always appreciated. We do right anyway. And ultimately, it sustains us, and the world too. Keep your word. After victories over Carthage in 256 BCE, Marcus Attilius Regulus met defeat. The enemy, aided by Spartans, unexpectedly crushed Rome at Tunis. Months after dictating impossible surrender terms, the consul was captured. He languished for 5 years, nearly 1,000 miles from Rome, away from family, enslaved, in rags, without aid or hope. All seemed lost, but after another battlefield defeat,
Carthage sought peace and sent Regulus to Rome to negotiate a prisoner exchange and armistice. The sea wind carried Regulus home, a war hero, freed, returning after long absence, back from the dead, back to family. But after presenting Carthage's terms, Regulus advised the Senate to reject them. Carthage was weak, he argued, otherwise they wouldn't send him. Rome must fight. Victory is possible. The Romans heeded his counsel gratefully, and Regulus packed, not to join the army, but to return to Carthage as a prisoner. Friends asked, stunned, "Why do this now when safe?" "I swore to return," Regulus explained the terms of his release, "and I will not break my oath, even to an enemy." He gave his word. That was all.
And us? We squirm out of recent agreements, dodge fulfilling promises, because something better appears, because it's profitable, because it's hard, and think it says nothing about us. Yes, keeping your word can cost. You might be stuck doing something unpleasant. You might miss a better opportunity. You might get less than market value. But breaking your word also has a price, not just your reputation. Each of us represents humanity. Each time we deceive or break a promise, we erode trust, making it harder for people to rely on each other. Conversely, every time we keep faith, we contribute, adding another strand to the rope binding the world together.
Is there anyone we admire who does not strive to fulfill obligations, who does not keep their word? We keep our word to ourselves, that's discipline. We keep our word to others, that's justice. When someone says they'll meet a deadline, charge a certain price, approve a project, or show up, people must be absolutely certain it's true. Often, they depend on it. They plan based on your assurance, spend money based on your agreement, quit jobs when you say the position is theirs. They assure others it's settled. When we say one's word is their bond, we mean bond literally, a guarantee, a contract. A handshake should suffice. Your word should suffice. What else is left otherwise?
Speak the truth. Cynthia Cooper exposed massive accounting fraud. Daniel Ellsberg revealed the secret history of the Vietnam War. Tyler Schultz helped uncover the Theranos scam. Dr. Li Wenliang warned of a dangerous virus China sought to hide. They are called whistleblowers, but it's simpler. They told the truth. They saw something. They spoke. How many truly honest people do you know? Those who speak truth, even when inconvenient. Who state their position clearly. Who don't dissemble or deceive. Can you honestly count yourself among them? It's not always dramatic. We include overly optimistic projections. Embellish resumes. Dance around unpleasant answers, avoiding hard work. From fake it till you make it to outright fraud isn't as far as we think.
We fear losing access. We need their support. We choose not to see, so we don't have to speak or act. Others do worse. It's for the greater good. We always have reasons. Like the tale of the emperor's new clothes, flatterers avoided truth at Hadrian's court. That's why he saw such promise in young Marcus Aurelius, drawn early to philosophy, who spoke his mind even to the powerful. Hadrian called him verissimus,
meaning most true. Marcus Aurelius, later emperor himself, despised those lacking honesty in politics, especially those prefacing remarks with "I'll be frank," implying we usually aren't. Honesty needs no preface. As Marcus might say, an honest person is like a goat in a room. You just know it's there.
Honest people keep promises. Don't hide behind words. Don't dodge. If delayed or troubled, they tell you. If concerned, they voice it. Don't just nod to say, "I told you so," later. They don't deceive themselves or posture. They aren't fools. There's a difference between truth-telling and attacking, between stating your thoughts and dictating how others should live, look, or act unasked. Marcus reminded himself, "Speak as seems most just, only kindly, modestly, sincerely. Truth is painful enough. No need to inflict extra hurt."
This brings us back to whistleblowers. They're often accused of seeking attention. This is absurd, as they almost always tried first, politely and privately, to address the issue internally, exhausting all channels, sometimes for years. They respected authority, tried to clean house internally. Only after being ignored did they turn to media or law. Ultimately, they did what they had to do. They didn't shrink because they knew it was right.
Take responsibility. When Maxwell Perkins, editor to Hemingway and Fitzgerald, was a teen, he swam with his friend Tom in a deep New Hampshire pond. Tom began drowning. Panicking, he grabbed Perkins' neck, pulling him under. Perkins, a good swimmer, but self-described timid and cowardly youth, broke free and nearly reached shore. But something in the 17-year-old overcame fear. He turned back to Tom, now submerged. Grabbing his friend, the exhausted Perkins dragged him ashore, cleared his lungs, and saved his life. Like kids facing mortality, they swore never to tell, but the incident changed Perkins forever. "I made the one resolution I've always kept, never to avoid responsibility." This is the first decision in a life built on justice. We dodge responsibility because it's hard, risky. We have enough burdens. We prefer others bear it. But what world would we have if everyone did this? If no one made Perkins' choice? Certainly not a just one. Before taking responsibility for others, we must start by taking responsibility for ourselves. This is the source of character and self-respect. Basic decisions about our behavior, who we will be, are matters not just of discipline, but of justice. Do we handle our own problems or expect others to? Can we be relied upon or not? Do we work hard or do the minimum? Do we care about the consequences of our actions or only our gain? Who we choose to be affects not just us, but the whole world. This realization brings not only clarity, but strength. What we do matters. We matter.
This might seem self-centered, yet it's infinitely preferable to the immature alternative chosen by too many, that few things are serious, stakes are low, and one can linger indefinitely in arrested development. The world is full of such people, those careless about promises, honest only when watched or threatened, wasting talents, thinking time is endless, never considering how actions affect others, weak, unable to act for themselves or others, stepping back, hoping someone else steps forward. We've all been there, young, unburdened, unchallenged, life seeming easy. Part of us fears responsibility will ruin things, be joyless, or resents the injustice of having to take it while others shirk it.
Be your own judge. When Frank Robinson hit the ball, he was sure it would clear Fenway Park's left field wall, the Green Monster. So he ran to first base at half speed, watching it soar towards the 37-foot netting. Then the ball plummeted, bounced off concrete and tin, and landed in the left fielder's glove. A superb runner, Robinson settled for a single. He could have made 2 or 3 bases. His Baltimore Orioles won handily, so the mistake was inconsequential. Easy to forget. Over a 21-year career, Robinson batted roughly 10,000 times. Yet after the game, he walked into the manager's office and laid down $200.
He fined himself. He broke no league rule, but hadn't done his utmost. More importantly, he violated baseball's core ethic, hustle on every hit. He didn't wait for criticism. He didn't care about the win, or that sloppiness went unpunished. He committed an offense and imposed the penalty. It doesn't matter if we had a good reason or if things turned out fine. We must meet high standards, perhaps higher than our organization demands. And if we fall short, we must have the courage to accept the consequences voluntarily, pointing out our own error even if unseen.
In ancient Greece, the Stoic Chrysippus also ran races. Like athletes today, he wanted to win badly. That's the point of sport and life. But he knew that without honor, without commitment to rules and justice, victory is worthless. There's nothing wrong with seeking useful things in life, he said, speaking of the victor's laurels or signs of success. But to do so by taking from another is unjust. Telling a cashier they missed an item, informing a client they were overcharged, correcting a referee's mistaken call in your favor, each may cost you. But better to pay than game unlawfully. Better that than being a cheat. No one else may know, but you will know, and it's yourself you must live with.
Justice is greatness, but of a different kind. People we admire for their conduct, their integrity, don't act that way to succeed. Often, high standards burden them as much as benefit. They act for another reason. Each of us must decide right now where to direct our effort, what to strive for. As the saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. Epictetus, a slave whose philosophy deeply influenced Marcus, rejected competing for highest rank, biggest fortune, or fairest skin. These are superficial. Well then, hasn't man anything comparable? Isn't there conscience, honesty, justice? Show yourself superior in these, so you may be superior as a man.
This requires serious recalibration. Bank accounts are easily compared, but how quantify integrity? Shooting percentages are simple, but measure teamwork. Leadership comes from votes, but what grants the moral right to lead? Choosing the latter over the former requires courage.
but it's rooted in justice, and it makes the world better. Let virtue be our compass, goodness our goal. This demands no less.
Be an open book. The Rome of Marcus Livius Drusus was neither honest nor noble. In youth, he saw his uncle, the Stoic Publius Rutilius Rufus, exiled by the state for refusing bribes. Courts were farces, politics a mockery. Rome's oligarchy abandoned legitimacy, wallowing in luxury. The system crumbled. Political crime was routine. Into this stepped Marcus Livius Drusus, heir to immense wealth and aristocracy. Like others, he could have sunk into corruption. Instead, he forged the opposite reputation. A political reformer, he fought for civil rights, expanded the Senate, sought to resolve class conflict. Privately, he was profoundly generous, giving away his fortune, declaring he'd leave only dirt and air. He was known as honest and respected. As tribune, an architect approached him. Noting neighbors could see into his house, he offered to fix it for 5 talents. The tribune replied, "Tape 10 and make my whole house transparent, so every citizen may see my daily life." Today, we say transparency, but few in power feel bound by it. They live behind walls and guards, hide business in shell companies and tax havens. Politicians withhold income and conflict disclosures, hold secret meetings, spin words, hide truth behind lawyers. Why? To get away with things, to shield what they know the public, investors, or law wouldn't like. As Joseph Pulitzer said, there is not a crime that does not live by secrecy. Or, as the Bible states, evil hates the light. Choosing to live and work transparently is immunity against corruption and dishonor. Many laws promote this. Public filings, quarterly reports, shareholder notices, insider trading disclosures. But justice is more. A transparent person not only complies, but proactively provides stakeholders needed information. They don't conceal. They disclose plainly. They absolutely avoid lies and misdirection. And yet, this is only the beginning. We resent when others aren't transparent with us. Reason enough to demand more transparency of ourselves than we might like.
Be decent. When famed lawyer Clarence Darrow traveled by train with his son along the Pacific coast, they encountered poor service. The dining car queue grew, passengers grew impatient, and underpaid staff seemed to help only those who tipped. Everyone was unhappy with everyone. Knowing his father had connections with the railroad, his son asked, "Will you report him to the Chicago and Northwestern management when you get back?" referring to a particularly rude waiter. No, son," Darrow said, ignoring the slight. "Never hurt a man who is trying to make a living."
How far this seems from today, where passengers berate flight attendants and every lost package feels like a personal affront. Sadly, restaurant workers dread Sunday brunch, as even churchgoers treat staff like garbage. Are those who serve or work for you worthy of respect? In theory, we say yes, but listening to our calls to customer service would cast doubt on our sincerity and our decency. An integral part of justice is recognizing others as autonomous beings, possessing dignity and value, Hence, we treat them well. Respect is justice. Everyone deserves it, regardless of their importance. How we treat them speaks volumes about us.
We all face dilemmas, moral difficulties, temptations, situational logic. As the saying goes, if a principle doesn't cost you anything, it's not a principle. Decency ceases being abstract when life offers the chance to act on it. Then it becomes real, confirmed. You've proven your accountability. But it doesn't only take, it also guides, sustains, and encourages. How huge a blazing, dazzling light may aspirations be when there is something behind them, and how small a flickering spark when there is nothing. Money is a poor lodestar, but easy to follow if nothing better exists. Ego, fame, power, dominance. These may get you to the top, but they also corrupt. They erode. Dedication, love of the game, clean hands, competing honestly with the best, decency. The Greeks had a word, plenexia, grasping for more, considered the worst way to live. Justice, meaning virtue, implying you are good, not just great, is its opposite. One leads north, the other south. One forward, the other down into the abyss. Will we be perfect? Always do right? Unlikely. We will lose our way. We won't always possess Agrippina's certainty. But when lost, we can look to the fixed point in the sky. We can consult our conscience. Following it, we find our way. Right and right now. The common ill of life can only be overcome by one remedy, the moral improvement of one's own life. You could be good today, Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, perhaps pondering some equally contentious decision. Instead, you choose tomorrow. The longer you stand at the edge of the diving board, the harder the jump, and the less likely you'll take it. You overthink. You invent reasons. You lose courage. Let's not prolong our difficulties. Let's not dodge our duties. We will have to do the right thing eventually. Change course. Apologize. Make the hard choice. Take the first step. Why not simply get it over with? We'll have to pay sometime. Let's start, not later, right now.